Hello everyone, my name is Fabian and in this video I will show you the truth about Paris and how the city can improve. Last year in November I visited Paris with my girlfriend and I made a video out of it. I had a good experience, but a few weeks ago I visited Paris again and I noticed the same things that are less positive and the things that were not addressed in my previous video. So in this video I'll present to you the honest truth about Paris. Let's first start with the Paris syndrome. This is a sense of disappointment when tourists find out that visiting Paris is not what they had expected. This syndrome was first documented with Japanese tourists who experienced real symptoms such as delusional states, hallucinations, anxiety, and many others. So when these tourists returned to their home country, they were in need of actual physiological care. The Paris syndrome is caused by a very positive representation of the city, mainly by social media like Instagram. And Paris is also famous for its models and fashion brands, films, and even series like Emily in Paris, for example, which I actually watched in its entirety. And I thought it was very funny, but of course everyone knows it's a bit of a satire for people that have a gap year and go to Paris and everything, but I hope everyone sees it as a satire and maybe some people see it like a serious movie, I don't know. Anyway, when tourists finally end up visiting Paris, they will have a reality check. The city is overcrowded, so many tourists, there's litter everywhere and other things I will go over in this video actually. Although the buildings are very pretty and the landmarks are impressive, still the city leaves room for so much improvement. So I put together my own experiences about Paris and how the city could actually improve. Let's start with improvement 1. Whenever I visit Paris, I always notice the smell of urine, and that's probably because the lack of public bathrooms. They could introduce some of these like standing urinals, or when I lived in Sweden I often came across these very well maintained public bathrooms. And of course in Paris there are a lot of public bathrooms. I did some digging and there is an app to actually find yourself a bathroom. And there are these special bathrooms that clean themselves and they're just on the street. But there are only 400 of them, so they're thinking in the wrong scale. You need at least 10,000 public bathrooms for a city of its size. And I think there are too little when I was there at least. So yeah, to improve the smell in Paris, they could really improve on this. Then we have improvement 2, the homeless problem. Many people live on the street actually in Paris, or they live in tents on the street or just on the street. And when I wanted to reach the Seine, I needed to cross a busy road just to go to the water. To cross the road I needed to go underneath a tunnel, and this tunnel was filled with tents, with homeless people and maybe migrants. And I wondered, why are these people not taken care of? To illustrate this point, I found this report on phantom urbanism that about 100,000 homes are currently in Paris are just permanently empty. And these are mainly second homes and investment properties. So the government could, for example, this is my idea, they could levy some taxes over these empty homes and easily provide for the homeless, for homeless shelters and social care. Improvement number 3. This is a lot less serious than the previous one, but we will go on. Restaurant owners just squeeze everyone in the smallest possible spaces. This could be easy for small people. I don't know if everyone experiences it like this, but for me it's just very inconvenient. When I first visited Paris, I went to one restaurant where they put me side to side, immediately next to other guests. My girlfriend was sitting on the other side, in front of me, just like a romantic dinner. But I could barely move my arms because I was pressed against other people. And this was not a one-time thing. For my own experience, I would say at least half of the restaurants are seating the guests too close together. But still, it was inconvenient, but it is understandable because the real estate prices are so high and maybe only small restaurants with lots of guests could be profitable or something. So I joked once with some friends that a restaurant in a normal city would be divided into 3 separate restaurants if the restaurant was in Paris. And then they still want to attract the same amount of people as to the original restaurant. That's what it looks like. Anyways, we can fix this by just going to bigger restaurants and not going to the smallest restaurants, and only go to restaurants that actually give you some space. Very easy fix. It's just economics, supply and demand. Another reason the restaurants are this small is because of the French men are on average not that tall. They're quite short actually. And it had something to do with the Napoleonic Wars. Only the tall men were enlisted in the army. And so the tall men, they died during the Napoleonic Wars and they couldn't reproduce. So it has something to do with that actually. And I won't go into depth with that, but I saw something about it. It's very interesting. So maybe the restaurants are small because the people are smaller. That could be true. Improvement 4, the Champs-Élysées. The Champs-Élysées is way too busy and suffering from its own success. I never seen a place so commercial and overcrowded. I was there a few weeks before Christmas and it was already very uncomfortable. It's said that during the winter season, this street alone, the Champs-Élysées, sees over 26 million visitors. So be prepared to struggle with just walking there. So my improvement would be to widen the pedestrian lanes, because there are like 10 lanes for traffic, for cars and buses, while 26 million people are squeezed on like these pavements. So yeah, that would be a great improvement, and just give the people like at least 6 lanes extra or something. And I later heard you could, from some friends, that you could go on top of the Champs-Élysées, like on top of the Arc de Triomphe actually. And that's actually pretty cool, because then you can see it from above. But if you're there walking there and you don't like expensive brands and shopping at all, or fighting off pickpockets, then just don't walk there. Improvement 5. There's way too much traffic. There are many drivers who have a habit of honking. I once visited Nice, and while driving there, the other car users were so aggressive with cars full of dents. We almost got rammed multiple times, so my friends and I decided to use an Uber instead. And when talking to the Uber driver, he explains that Paris was even worse than Nice. So, so the most dangerous place to be an Uber driver, he told us, is actually Paris.
Who's the hottest Uber driver you've ever had?
I never went to Uber driver.
So yeah, well, in Paris I didn't partake in the car traffic, but the car traffic was still very noisy. Well, I was not even there, you know. I still could hear it. I could hear the honking, and lots of people just were like angry in the traffic, and because everyone wanted to hurry or something, I don't know. And it was just a very toxic environment. I wouldn't want to drive there. Just from this anecdote from the Uber driver, who has like a lot of experience, he told me Paris is the most dangerous. So yeah, they could improve this by better quality metros with more capacity, for example, and yeah, so that more car users might be tempted to use the public transit. Then they will be less angry. Improvement 6, the cycling lanes. I use them quite a lot. They are new. You have like a bus lane. They can now be used by people that are cycling. So cars cannot go onto this bus lane, but the bus lane can be used for bikes and for the buses. But actually it is better, but it can be way better, because in the Netherlands they actually have cycling only lanes. So you can cycle and you don't have to worry about a bus hitting you from behind. So you will never have to look behind you, and you can just cycle on a very recognizable cycling path instead of like a shared path. So they could improve on that with a bus only lane and a cycling only lane, and making the cycling lane very recognizable, like a red color or something. Improvement 7, the air quality. The air quality is not so good in Paris, partly because of the cars, and maybe also boats from the Seine, I don't know. But also people are smoking. In Paris, people are very used to smoking cigarettes. There was already an improvement, but it was like partly improvement. The authorities of Paris, they banned heat lamps during the winter and the summer as well, mainly to lower their carbon footprint, so less electricity is used. But it also had the effect of stopping people that used to smoke on terraces, and now they are cold because there are no heat lamps, so they have to go inside, and inside you cannot smoke. So it also had partly the effect that the air quality got a little bit better. But yeah, it does approach on your freedom. So well, for each their own. Well, these were my improvements for Paris. I hope the government takes notice. If anyone questions my expertise, by the way, I have a bachelor's in urbanism and I'm doing a master's right now. Also, I visited France my whole life, so I can compare Paris with other cities in France. And I also speak French, and I have spoken with many people before recording this, also French people. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching this video. And please leave a like and subscribe if you're new. So bye guys, see ya.